Hi, this is Zach here with the Bulletin Board Heroes here at Zach's Traders Cafe for Thursday, the 19th of September. Starting off with the FTSE 100, which is having a take two on that RSI 50 rebound that we had yesterday. That's normally a continuation signal or a buy signal. And obviously the market closed a bit flat yesterday, but we're still on that floor of the channel there from back in June, 9200 basically, and have bounced today. So hopefully this time the signal will take off. Initial resistance, obviously the record high is 93.57. Then after that, looking for as much as 9,500 by the end of next month. Ideally, we stay above the 50-day line on an end-of-day close basis at 91.47 on any rug pull, which obviously can always be waiting in the wings. Moving on to the DAX, and here there was a bit of a breakdown for the start of the week, but actually the market sort of saying, oh, actually I want to go back into that rising trend channel from back in April. 23,600 above that, looking for the 50-day line there, just around 24,000. But rather dead market. I'm not quite sure why we're looking at it actually at the moment. But the thing to wait for perhaps is the RSI getting back above neutral 50. It's 46 at the moment. We've been below neutral 50 for the best part of a month now. So in fact, if you look at it that way around, the bearish setup in the RSI window hasn't actually given us too much downside. So that is quite positive. Moving on to the Dow, and here it was all about 45,000 and all about trying to get to the top of that rising trend channel from May last year, 47,700 by the end of next month. It's still all about that. And what's good about this market at the moment is it looks as though we'll suddenly get support higher than 45,000, so towards 45,500. You see there's a wall of support as well in the RSI window, which show we've got multiple RSI 50 plus rebounds, which tends to be obviously by definition an even better leading indicator than just an RSI 50 rebound. So very strong looking market, and looks at the moment that this will surprise to the upside. There is a rug pull, not expecting anything lower now than 45,000 or the 50-day line there, just below it at the moment. Moving on to the cryptos, and you can see from the Bitcoin situation that we've got a slightly better look to this area at the moment. Maybe all those companies buying Bitcoin, but haven't actually seen that many announcements of companies buying Bitcoin. Current situation is that we're bouncing off a falling 50-day line, which tends to be bullish signal in its own right. Recent resistance around current levels, so we want to see probably 118 plus on an end-of-day close basis to open up the door for the possibility of 131 or 132 by the end of next month. On the downside, the floor of the channel there from back in February, March around 110, and that's the lowest we're expecting on any rug pulls. Double RSI 50 plus rebound there, so looking good in the RSI window at the moment in terms of being a leading indicator on the upside. Ethereum has been a bit disappointing in recent days, and hopefully today's chart configuration shows that it might be getting better with the market bouncing off the floor of that rising trend channel from July. The level there around 44.50. Above that, we're looking for the top of the channel here, 5,500 by the end of next month. Rather simple charting there. On the downside, hoping that there won't be anything worse than a bounce off the 50-day line, 43.07. And certainly no end-of-day close back below. We haven't been back below it since the beginning of July. RSI at 57, which is in the perfect place for a further recovery in this market. On to gold, and here it's been a bit of a victory run and victory lap until perhaps yesterday's session. But still looking very strong and looking up to at least hitting the top of that channel there, 38.45. By the end of next month. We were hoping we might even get there by the end of this month, but obviously yesterday's price action rather upsets that. Ideally above 3,600, we are looking at 38.40 plus on gold. Moving on to the stocks, and starting off with Empire Metals, which is trying to regroup after its fall on being at the end of stage one of the Lassonde curve, which somebody pointed out rather cleverly a couple of weeks ago. Current situation is we've got the shares bouncing off the floor of the rising trend channel there from January. The floor of the channel there nominally around 34 pence. Above that, we're looking for initially around 50 pence, which was support on the way up and resistance on the way down. Ideally, now there are no end-of-day closes back below the 50-day line at 38 pence. The area, which we had that rather nasty rug pull. Moving on to Fulcrum, which seems to be rehabilitating itself, as I've been saying. Got a V-shaped bull flag there, broken above the 200-day line, around 5.7 pence. Above that, looking for up to 10.5 pence by the end of next month, the upper parallel of that rising trend channel base. And as you can see, we've had an RSI 50 plus rebound to go with the first RSI 50 rebound we had at the beginning of the month. The 50-day line rising. Probably all that's missing now is for the 200-day line, the black line there, to start rising as well. You can see the price action very strong. We've had quite a few days where the shares have opened at the low, closed at the high, and but we've had that in the last couple of days and then earlier this month as well. So looking good. On to ImmuPharma, who I interviewed last Friday when the shares were around 10.5 pence. So they went up to 18 pence, but I've gone back to the previous target there around the 11 pence level. Above 11, though, we're looking for a pinball movement back up to 18 pence. Best case here above 18 is that we get up to as high as 30 pence by the end of next month. Obviously, at the moment, that looks rather like a punchy call, but the shares have moved and can move in the wake of their golden cross that we had just last week. Moving along to the situation at the bigger stock that we normally look at, Jupiter, just because rather exciting move on the charting front, gapping up above a rising 50-day line. Recent resistance around 132. Above that, we're looking for up to £1.70, and we're left wondering what might do that in terms of news or fundamentals, etc. On to Mast, where the mantra has been a very simple one, that we're expecting the shares to go all the way back up from where they came, so above £2 after that rather catastrophic RNS that they had the other week. Current situation is that we are riding high above the 50-day line now, up to a pound. We were looking for an initial target here at £1.31, which is not far away, but actually should be the case that we go all the way back up. And obviously, if that happens, it would be quite a remarkable state of affairs and quite a remarkable technical call as well. A bit of a cork in water rebound is what we're looking for there while we're above that 50-day line. Mkango is next, and here we've had a rise in the shares after a fundraise, which is normally a good thing to happen and a good thing to do if you can get away with it. Here we've got a rising trend channel from back in February, top of the channel there, heading for 50 pence. We're looking for that maybe by the end of next month, but the first thing we need is, or the first two things we need is an end of day close above the 50-day line, around 36 pence, and above RSI 50. But at least we have bounced off of the placing, which is a good look. Only back below 30 pence really now on a sustained basis, really upsetting the recovery situation there. On to Quadrise, where I waited perhaps too long to look at this, but I suppose yesterday the shares spiked, and today they've spiked and come back. But what the key here is to stay above the 200-day line there, around 4.25 pence. Above that, looking for up to 5.75 pence by the end of next month. You can see that also ties in with the top of the gap there from back in January. On to the last two. The first one is WeCap, which has been rather slow to take off, and I suppose a lot of people are impatient in terms of the upside, and also one or two people delighting in the fact that they can maybe get out of the situation at a higher price. But the current situation is that above 2.75 pence, we're looking for the next level on the resistance front, which was around 3.9 pence, which was the resistance back in April 2022. So mark that in as the next target while we're above 2.75 pence. Finishing off with Wishbone, and here looks like Mr. Polden is still very much on the front foot at the moment. You can see that we've got this mid-move consolidation. Looking for a clearance, I suppose, of 1.6 pence to give a new move up to 2.1 pence by the end of next month. RSI remaining above neutral 50, which is a positive. Obviously, we're well above the 50 and 200-day moving averages. That's it for me today. More updates tomorrow.